Boom, boom. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Kendrick coming at you from the corner. We got a little bit of Azur Lane coming up today. So let's go ahead and talk about the ships, which I'm sure everybody wants to talk about the ships. The reason we want to talk about the ships is because this is probably the best event in terms of quality ships all around. Okay, these are excellent ships, especially the two SSR ships and of course the UR ship. All of those are top tier. All of those you definitely want to max out, fully limit break, get those skills, and start utilizing them because they are usable. Some fill a void, which I know a lot of new players and mid-level players might have, and we'll touch on that. So let's go ahead and talk about the item first. Okay, and that is the Admiralty Fire Control Table. Wrong button. Let's focus on the shop. Munitions. All right, you definitely want to be able to get this. Now, what is nice about this? Well, the fact about this is the stats. At 10, it gives you an increase of plus 40. That's a lot of firepower. And an accuracy of plus 53. Okay. The problem is the fact that going to stats, taking the stats up to 13, you only get 6 more firepower, so 46 on the firepower, and you only get 12 more in terms of accuracy up to 65. The problem is it takes a ton of mats to do that. I don't really think it's actually worth it. It's nice to have that little extra firepower, but really, while those stat buffs are nice, it's really not what you want the unit for. The reason you want this particular item is reduces the first round main gun salvo cooldown to about 15%, which is nice, and most importantly, reduces main gun spread by 2. I know what you're saying. You're saying, Kendra, what's main gun spread? All right, let's talk about main gun spread. Main gun spread is exactly what it sounds like. Anytime a battleship launches a salvo, it fires out at a triangular geometry. Okay, so the width of that determines. The problem with that is the fact that it might not hit the boss, because when it's wide like that, there's spaces in between the actual the shells and whatnot, so it doesn't hit sometimes. Okay, reducing that spread allows it to focus more on the target. Combine that with an increase in accuracy of plus 53. Whichever ship you put this on is going to hit a lot more. And what's good about this is the fact that there happens to be a ship inside of this game that does not have a spread skill, a skill that affects spread, which means it's been sort of made a little bit weaker in terms of other ships. I'm not going to. This is designed for that ship, and that ship is, of course, FDG. This puts FDG back on top as being the most powerful ship in the game. UVH had sort of kind of supplanted her just a smidget. It was very minuscule in terms of damage, but UVH was just a smidget higher once you got her skills maxed out and her stats maxed out and got her equipment maxed out. Well, no longer. Put this beast on FDG and she's back on top. She's now going to have this ability to have a reduction in spread, as well as a firepower increase, as well as an accuracy increase. So she's going to be much more effective. So, since ships like New Jersey, what they already have a skill that controls their spread. Most of the battleships have have the ability to manipulate their spread, except for FDG. FDG didn't have that. So everybody's saying that I've spoken to like several people say, put this on FDG. That is the most efficient place for that weapon to go. So that's definitely something that you want to focus on, and it's a good choice as well. So yeah, definitely put that on FTG. So let's talk about first ship. All right, the first ship I want to talk about is what I consider to be the second best ship in the game. I think the best ship in the game is probably our UR ship Vanguard, but I want to talk about what I think is very close to quite possibly being the best ship in this event. And the reason is because that we finally got a ship which seems to be when I look at Jarvis and her stats, I'm thinking the devs are going, okay, let's make a ship which is designed specifically to tackle the upper levels 13, 14 inside of Azur Lane. Okay, let's call it Jarvis, and it'll just give that ship every skill and every type of ability that would make her 14, 13, 14. And that's what they did. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that. Okay, she has 271 evasion stats and a 92 luck. Okay, so she's going to hit the 90% evasion cap. Okay, with that second skill procs, which is where it comes from, she's pretty much going to hit the max evasion. Okay, which means she's just not going to get hit very often. You're going to see, so you're going to see Laffy running around. If you remember, people would max out Laffy's evasion stat, and she would be like a blur across the screen, and it was actually quite funny. You don't see that much anymore because but now since destroyers are making a comeback, we'll probably see that. There's an update coming up. I think it's next week that's going to be discussing the melee for destroyers. Hopefully putting them back where we'll be able to at least include them in the meta and some of the other facets of the game. But we'll have to see. So I think Jarvis is definitely one of the top tier ships in this game. You should be maxing her out. Okay, there's no question about that. Okay. I think I'm focusing on just carriers at this time, so we need to put it back to all. Yep, that's what it was. So is Jarvis. Now, when I first saw Jarvis, I saw that nice little cross on her hat. I thought she was a healer. She's not. Okay, she doesn't have any type of healing, but it's the fact that she can help out with a lot of other stuff. Okay, decrease damage taken from aircraft. That's 10% at max. Aviation damage. Okay, 12, 13, 14. That's the big thing. Aircraft damage. Okay. Need I say more? I mean, that's what you take. 75 to 80% of your damage comes from aircraft. Even with San Diego and your team, some still get through. But San Diego and Jarvis, anything that gets through, she's going to take care of. And if it does, even if it does manage to hit her, it's probably not going to, because her evasion stat's going to be maxed out with 2 procs. But even if it does, it's going to do a lot less damage. Okay. Okay. Now, also, if the Vanguard consists of another destroyer and another cruiser, if the Vanguard consists only of destroyers and light cruisers, increases her torpedo stats by 10. So you want to make sure that you put a good torp on her. Okay. Now, it also reduces the torpedo damage she receives by 20%. So it's really difficult to get healing inside of those upper levels, because the healing that you need sometimes takes away from her damage. So another way to mitigate is to actually just not get hit. Okay, if you can't out heal it, don't get hit in the first place. Okay, so this is what this puts into effect. So combining this with the right front line, I think she's going to be an excellent ship for 14. Okay, and then you can get a heal from her if you put her in the left. Whether or not to use her in left position, the main tank depends. She'll contribute 5% Vanguard heal per fight. Okay, regardless of team composition. So that's not any requirement for that. But what things here is you have to understand she has the highest anti-submarine warfare stats. Okay, and then a 20% more with the boost. Okay, and another thing, put this beast on her, the Hedgehog, and she will annihilate submarines. And if you're familiar with running the upper levels, you know that submarines in the late 13th are very, very annoying. And having somebody that can take them down very instantly, she can solo them. It's just amazing. So that's definitely something that you want to put on her as well. So make sure you get the Hedgehog on her so that she can take care of those things. Now, the unfortunate weakness is, of course, she's a destroyer. So collision damage, burn damage. Okay, she doesn't have the greatest in terms of hit points. So those two things are going to be something that you have to consider. Okay, but chapter 14, get a Hedgehog. She'll solo those subs. Okay, the 5% Vanguard heal. This occurs every fight. It doesn't matter what comp you have. You don't have to put her in a special comp. Okay, and the higher evasion. Okay, you know. It's, that can be a problem. We'll have to see how it plays out, but I think it's going to be, most of the people I'm saying right now are saying that she maxes out fairly quickly, fairly easily, and she does have the survivability. Okay, and once we get the melee update next week, her damage might be, we might be getting a pretty good meta, close to meta with that. And of course, in terms of any of the lower game maps, you'll be able to, she's going to be unkillable because of her evasion stat. So that's what I think about Jarvis. So definitely one that you want to go for. All right, let's go ahead and talk about Indomitable. Now, Indomitable, she's an excellent ship. Now, here's the thing about her. Okay, she has excellent aircraft efficiency. Okay, which is above average. Okay, but she has skills that summon extra fighter aircraft. Okay, and she's got an extremely high anti-air. Okay, and because she has heavy armor, that makes her help a little bit survivability inside of Chapter 14. I'm not going to talk too much about her simply because of the fact that, unfortunately, the problem with her is the fact that there are better, the UR aircraft carriers out there, UR and DR, let me say some of the priority ships, and you've got Shinano, they're just better. Okay, so, but if you don't have those, she's an excellent substitute. Okay. Okay, she's just not quite as good as the Ultra, but she is the best after them. Better than Essex and all those other tankies, ones that we were talking about. Okay, so and her anti-air is amazing. So it's immensely useful for clearing out anti-air. Okay, so do you want to keep that in mind? So if you're having trouble with the anti-air, you can put her in the supplement San Diego, and in lower levels, such as like 12s, 11s, 10s, you might be able to get by with just her. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. But yeah, the fact that and she has a burn with her first skill helps out as well too. But in the end, the URs are just a little bit better. Okay, so you should be using them, but 13, 14, if you don't have a UR carrier, go for it. Okay, but if you do, might be something to consider in terms of that. So let's go ahead and we'll talk about the best last. Let's go ahead and talk about B'Elanna. So we talked Jarvis, we talked Indomitable. Let's go ahead and talk about B'Elanna. B'Elanna is the one that you get from the actual event. Right here. So she's not a bad ship. Okay. She's got solid survivability, surprisingly. She's a light cruiser. She's not a destroyer, so you need to take that into account. Okay. First thing to understand is she has the air raid assistance skill. Okay. It has 20% evasion stat boost. Okay, and that allows her survivability to be well into top tier survivability in terms of that. So if you're looking for a light cruiser, she's definitely one that you might want to put up. And as we talk about here in a few is with Vanguard and having as well as Jarvis having other Royal Navy ships inside of the fleet could apply some buffs to that. Okay, so she has good anti-air as well. She beats all of the most of the people have been comparing her to Curlew, okay, but she's better in all facets. So we're going to see she's carrier support and she's top tier. You definitely want to max her out. Okay, I got a feeling we're going to be seeing her in some of meta play. So just be ready for. Don't be surprised if you start seeing people injecting her into other facets of the game. You have to be ready for these things. The meta never stays. The meta changes. Every time there's an event, there's a possibility of a meta change. And we're probably going to see meta change inside of this event in more ways than one. So max her out. Okay? We'll see what happens afterwards, but I would just, go right now, max it out. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the surprise of this game, which was the retrofit. Everybody was talking about, oh, there's going to be a retrofit. There's going to be a retrofit. We knew there's going to be a retrofit, but it was the unicorn retrofit, which is surprising. So Epic to now SSR, she's now comparable. 2, Perseus. No, I know all you're doing. I love Perseus. Perseus is bad. Well, Perseus, yes, Perseus is good. Uh, but the fact of the matter is that Unicorn now has a boost in her healing. Okay. Um, it's been mixed. Most people are saying she's now better. Okay, so that's just the way it goes. You can have your own, but I don't have Perseus, so I don't know. Okay, but and plus I use San Diego and UE for most of my UE and San Diego for most of my, so whatever you want to use out. She got a huge boost with her preload airstrike, and that airstrike heals the back line. That's the big thing about her. We've got a lot of Vanguard healing options out there, but we don't have a lot of backline healing options. So this is good for that. In terms of damage, this is where people are missing the ship. All right, when the game starts, Perseus does a double preload, which means of course she's going to have her Perseus' initial airstrike is going to be more powerful. Probably about 15 to 20%, just because she's doing double preload. Okay, but after the ship as the game starts progressing, that's when Unicorn starts to kick in. Okay, on her next airstrike, okay, she does twice as much damage as Perseus does. So in the long run, you're going to get more out. Now, if fights don't last up to that 19-second mark, but they generally do when you're talking these high-level sorties, it might not, but in the end, I think it does. So you have to take that into effect in terms of that. I would consider using her. Definitely. Okay. She's now back up there. So if you were worried about before, or if you don't have Perseus, as I don't, then you might want to consider doing that. Okay, Perseus is still better in some things. Before it was the only option was Perseus. Now you have Unicorn for some things as well. So you've got a little bit more to work with. And so for those of us unfortunate enough to not have Perseus, we can get our quote healing fix from Unicorn. I was getting it from San Francisco, but that's beside the point. All right, so it's time. We've got another ship, but let's go ahead and skip right into the big girl herself, our UR ship, Vanguard. Now, the problem that came out with Vanguard was the fact that when everybody saw her, the problem was her stats. Her stats are not good for UR ship. They're actually the words abysmal, terrible, has been thrown around by some people about her stats. Yeah, they are not good stats, but they made the skill set more than makes up for it, and it's one of the reasons that I think she is probably, in terms of the UR ships that come out, she's probably one of the best, if not the best, and that's simply because her skill set offers everything that you need when you get so. So when a main gun finishes the skill 1, it fires a special barrage. Okay, this is glisten, light of glory. It finishes loaded, it fires a special barrage, which debuffs all enemies on the field, causing them to take 8% extra damage from battleships and battle cruisers for 6 seconds. All right, now, so they're going to take 8% extra damage from battleships and battle cruisers. So right away, we're saying, okay, so I want to use battleships and battle cruisers. What would I do? You obviously want to put FDG, and you obviously want to put New Jersey in the back line with her. Okay, put FDG is the flag, and then put flank her with, put that fire control table on FDG as well. Then flank her with Vanguard and flank her with New Jersey. All right. So, and the thing about this is the barge does not need to hit to apply the debuff. The debuff is applied to all enemies on the screen when the barrage is fired. That's another big plus right there. Some of the things that they had, some of those that they had to hit, and then it applies the slow. Well, those things, they had low proc rates, as well as the fact that it had to hit. A lot of times, bosses are like running all over the place, so the ships are moving fast. You can't hit them. So this does not matter. It's irrelevant if it hits. It's all ships on the screen. An 8% more damage from battleships, but that's not all. Okay? Sec skill 2 uh, increases own accuracy stats by 12, reload stats by 20. Okay, 2 seconds after the enemy spawns in, it increases its damage taken by 10%. Okay, now here's the when another ship fleet, this ship is not in battles and this ship is afloat, increases 10% fire stats for all Royal Faction Vanguard ships in the fleet. Okay, so yes, you're seeing where we might have issues with Revenge and Balana, which are the two of the ships, but this does not work for uh, just the faction. The ships for this event is all Royal Navy ships. So even previous Royal Navy ships like that are out there can also get the benefits from this buff. And it also increases the anti-air stats for all the ships in the fleet by 10% for 15 seconds. Okay, all right. See, just like Jarvis, she's got 14 written all over her because anything that's associated with anti-air mitigation, anything like that, it's automatically going to have a lock for the next chapter. And then skill 3, the secondary gun on this ship will always crit. Okay, so you're always going to get crit damage when you activate skill 3. When equipped with any Royal Faction, it increases the own anti-air gun efficiency by 30% and reduces flagship main gun spread by 2. See, this is why you do not want to put the fire control table on certain ships. Okay, simply because of the fact that the main gun spread. So that's why we're saying put the fire control, on FDG. And battle, if there are any other Royal Faction ships in the same fleet, reduce aviation damage taken for all Royal Faction ships by 10%. Okay, see, everybody was complaining about 13 and 14 in terms of the damage that they were taking from aircraft. It's imperative that you set up a fleet that meets the requirements for air superiority. If you don't, it turns into a nightmare. It's still a nightmare even once you do claim it, but it's not as nearly a bad nightmare. Okay, so yeah, so she's just great. Okay, so yeah, the stats aren't good. Okay, you got the 10% boost on skill 2. That includes a submarine fleet. So if you're not using submarines, you should, because they're going to get a 10% boost. Okay, skill 1 gives another 8% for all battleships, including herself. That's the damage. Okay, so when you count her damage contribution with a fully geared fleet with battleships and submarines, she can actually put out a little bit more damage than Jersey, and that's what makes her the best ship in this particular event, and quite possibly one of the best ships in the game right now. New Jersey was right up there. In terms, you have to understand FGG is the best ship in the game when it comes to damage, but in terms of overall usefulness and efficiency, New Jersey was pretty much considered it. She was the it ship. Well, Vanguard's competing for the it ship, okay? So she's, okay. Just get her, max her out, put her in there, and you'll see, almost immediately. Okay, so yeah, she's really, really good ship. So that's one. Now we've also got the fate simulation for Drake. Listen, guys, Drake has a position, and that position is in mob fleets for Operation Siren. Okay, all types of sirens because of her siren damage, which makes her a very problem. She's a priority ship, in case you're wondering. She got her fate simulation, which gives her a little bit of thing. Okay, so, but really, she's damaged and she's tanky, but in terms of that, that's pretty much all okay. The problem is the fact that she has a heavy cruiser gun, and they're worse than the larger cruiser guns. And the problem is because her guns can get blocked by shields, okay, and because they're slow, they might fit on fast moving. And we've got a ship that's better, and that's the UR ship Kronstadt. Okay, so she's just better in terms of that. So if you got Kronstadt, you really don't need to focus on Drake. Okay. The fact is also she can't equip anti-sub, so that hurts as well too. Okay, so submarines in late game, submarines are a problem. At 13 and 14, you're going to see them popping up. You put that hedgehog on Jarvis, and that'll be taken care of immediately. She kills those things almost instantly. So yeah, Drake just really doesn't have much that she was coming to offer inside of this particular setup. Okay, and now we'll talk about the last ship real quick. Just Revenge. Revenge. Uh, you're not going to be able to use her in 14. Okay, unfortunately. But she's pretty good before that. She's basically a pre-retrofit war sprite, is what people have been calling her. Okay, so war sprite wasn't bad. She became UR when she was, of course, got a retrofit, which required that special item, which is currently in the shop, by the way. So if you do have her, you can get that item, the sword, for her to do her retrofit, and you should. It makes her an excellent ship. So she's not a bad ship, but nothing that you might want to to lose in late game. Now we also got in the event we got Little Cheshire, of course. You should have gotten her quite some time ago. So it's very easy to get. She's not a bad ship. Okay, she loses about 25% HP and 9% anti-air from her big self, which is grown Cheshire. Okay, she still has excellent anti-air power. And she takes out enemy aircraft pretty good. So she might be something if you're looking for early game, early game farming and whatnot. She might be good enough. Okay. She's pretty tanky. I don't know that some people have said that she can be used as a tank at 13 mobs. I'm not sure about that. I would have to actually do that. But a lot of people are saying that she is actually the best ship for new players to get that cannot get San Diego or get the big Cheshire. So if you're a new player, get her, max her out, fully equip her, and you've got an excellent anti-air ship. And that's why I think some of the people saying that she can work at 13 is because she can tank it because of the fact that she has such great anti-air. So we'll have to see about that. I have not had a chance to test that out, so I don't know the veracity of that statement. But she's just, a pretty good ship. That's saying that she's probably the best of the little ships out there right now, of the little ships, as they're saying. So we'll have to see. But yeah, that's what I got. So guys, these are just great ships. This is definitely something that you want to consider. All of the ships in this event are great. So definitely get them all, max them out, fully limit break them, complete the event, and then get them and use them. Work on the skills. I've got the skills. I'm running them right now, and you won't go wrong. So yeah, good event, good ships. The story was not bad at all. It was not it was not. I don't think any story's going to beat the previous event. The Iron Blood Call to Arms previously was just ridiculously good. I mean, it's impossible to write stories like that consistently that good, with that much, with the surprise, the twists, the turns, and just the cast of characters. It's really virtually impossible to do that. But this story is not bad. They do get in there. Monarch jumps the gun as always. She's always been feeling a little left out since she was a paper ship. She blueprint ship. She's never actually had a real combat experience, and that was making her feel a little left out. But they did manage to get something to help out Hood, which was what this event was all about. They did get some meta ships, got some information on the metamorphosis that's affecting Hood, and they're able to fashion some type of medicine that's helping her. And from the sounds of it, she was improving. So it must be good. I don't know whether or not it's a full-on vaccine or not, but they're able to treat her effectively. So we'll have to see how that comes out. But yeah, that's where we're at. So good ships, definitely get in there and get them, and definitely use them. All right. So thanks a lot for watching. Remember to subscribe. Once you subscribe, you'll see a bell. Click on it. You get notified to drop a video. So remember to like and share, of course, as always, as it helps the algorithm. Anything that feeds the algorithm is good. All right. So this is Kenrir, still in the corner, still coming at you. Signing out.